अब तपाईहरुले भिडियोको टाइटलबाट नै थाहा पाइसक्नुभयो होला what this video is going to be about भनेर. So yeah, in today's video I'm going to be talking about choosing your first motorcycle and the things that you should consider. Hello, namaste and welcome to my channel. This is Revin. Hope you guys are doing fine. So this video is going to be mostly focused for you if you're a new rider who is looking forward to buying your first motorbike, and I really hope that this would help you choose the right motorcycle for you. In my previous video, I did talk about some of the types of motorbikes commonly found in our country. So you can click on this card on the top right of the video if you want to know the basics about the different types of motorbikes. So just keep in mind that there's not a right choice in general. There's not a right answer to this. So something that's right for me might not be right for you, and something that's good for you might not be good enough for somebody else. So it vastly depends on yourself, your style of riding and your preference. So let's talk about some of the key things you should consider when choosing your first motorcycle. So the cost of the motorbike is definitely one of the major factors you need to consider. Unless you have a really fat bank account, then you can just skip this part. And when I say cost, I don't mean just the price for purchasing the bike. If you have never owned a bike before, you might not know that buying the motorcycle is not the hardest part. It's keeping the motorcycle. Sure, a bike can be costly to purchase, and more so in our country due to the ridiculously high import duties on automobiles. But let's say you worked your ass off to finally save enough to pay for your dream bike. Not to break your dreams here, but that's not nearly enough. Purchase cost is just the beginning to your journey as a motorcyclist. Some motorbikes can be a heavy fuel guzzler, but the fuel cost is just the first thing you notice. You'll have regular expenses for maintenance of a motorbike. So you'll need to change the lubricants and filters in the system at regular intervals. Also, all the moving parts degrade over time. So in the long run, you'd eventually need to change out the brake pads, chain and sprockets, the tires, bearings, clutch plates and whatnot after a certain time. Not to mention the yearly vehicle tax that's been constantly increasing like crazy. But buying better and expensive things must mean less maintenance, right? Wrong. That's not the case for motorbikes. The bigger your motorcycle or the more expensive your motorcycle, the more it will cost you for parts and service. You might not even notice the cost of maintenance on a 125cc commuter, but a small 150cc sports bike can cost you up to even 5,000 per month for maintenance. And once you go above these bikes, the cost spikes up real fast. A 250 to 300cc bike can cost you anywhere from 5 to 15,000 each month in maintenance, depending on the type of bike you have and how you ride.
A few moments later.
Also, you'll slowly want to accessorize your bike with stuff like leg guards or sliders, maybe lever guards, and maybe some decals or some custom part like seat covers or windshields and so on. And all that would depend on your taste and your budget, and not to mention the gears that you need. You should definitely go for proper riding gears if you can afford one, but I'd recommend a minimum of a full face helmet, a pair of riding gloves and leather boots for minimum safety. Guys, please do not go on a ride on your shorts and sleepers. Just put on a pair of jeans, boots and a full sleeve jacket. Do not neglect on safety when riding a motorbike. Now the next thing you'll want to look out for is how comfortable do you feel on the motorcycle, and whether or not you're okay with that level of comfort. If you're solely into performance and do not mind to sacrifice the comfort in using it for your daily commute, you might want a commuted track focus machine. Sure, after a while you'll get used to and the ergos will start to feel natural, but still it's the least comfortable thing you can take on a long ride. Sport bikes do offer so much fun when leaning in those twisty mountain roads, but that's only for a short time that you'll want to ride aggressive. Once you're riding for more than a couple of hours, you'll only be wishing you had that comfortable touring bike with you. So especially for a new rider, you might feel some pain on your back and wrist when riding for long in city traffic, but you'll get used to soon enough once you start using a sport bike for your daily commute. So you have to be clear on what you're mostly gonna do with your motorcycle. If you want something that offers comfortable city rides without sacrificing much on performance, then a naked bike can offer the best balance between performance and comfort. Naked sport bikes can give you that versatile riding. It's comfortable in long rides, easy to maneuver in traffic, you can do some aggressive riding in twisty roads, you can easily lean into corners, and you can also take it to the tracks if you want. You can also go off-roading in a naked sports with some ride setup. So it's a better all-rounder package if you want that one bike for everything. But how comfortable you actually feel matters much more than what anyone tells you. Something comfortable for one person might not be such for someone else. You'll never know how you truly feel until you experience by yourself. So the best thing would be to go visit the dealers and try out a few motorcycles. So you don't have to test ride each and every of them. Just get yourself on the seats and hold the handlebars. Stay there for a few minutes and see how you feel, because no one else can tell you which motorcycle will be comfortable for you. So try to take a feel, and if you find something that seems okay, then take it out for a spin and ride it around for as long as they would let you. Do not decide on a motorbike after only riding it for a few minutes. So get as much time as you can with the bike before you make a purchase. So the performance is another thing that you need to consider. Ask yourself some questions like, do I want a fast motorcycle? Whether or not you want good off-roading abilities, or if you want to take your bike to the tracks some days. If you don't have much experience with motorbikes, it's really difficult to understand what type of performance do you need, or how much power or torque is enough. If you learned riding in a 100cc commuter and you have just ridden a 150cc naked sports, you might feel the 14 or 15 horses on the 150 is more than enough. But you might grow out on it pretty soon and be wanting something faster. On the other hand, maybe you do not need a lot of power. Maybe you'll never be riding very fast. Maybe you'll be enjoying a slow and relaxed riding on something like the Enfield Classic with more of a presence over performance. So all of it really depends on your taste. Some bikes will make you feel that it wants to be pushed to the limits. It wants you to keep the engine screaming and do not respond good enough in low RPMs. While some other bikes have good low end torque and pulls forward with ease without having to crank that throttle all the way up. So do watch out for that sweet spot of maximum torque and power along the rev line and see how it feels when riding, and compare it to how you want to ride your bike most of the time. Get some idea on what the torque and horsepower numbers mean, and when you ride someone else's bike or test ride one at the dealer, try to figure out the difference those numbers would make when you're actually riding. Understanding those will help you know how much of a performance would you need. You can compare the numbers on the spec sheets all you want, but you may not know what difference it actually makes until you take the bikes out for a test run. The next thing to look out for is practicality. So you should keep in mind the things that you expect to do with your motorcycle and evaluate if the things you want is feasible with the motorcycle you're about to buy. If you use a car or have another motorcycle for daily commute and just want to buy a motorbike for weekend fun, you can just go for whatever feels fun to ride. If you're looking for dirt bikes for weekend off-roading or a sport bike for just taking to those mountain highways with your friends during weekends, then you need not give much thought to some of these things. But you might be looking to use the motorbike for daily needs, then you should definitely look out for some of the things I'm gonna mention next. And if those will or will not matter to you will depend on your needs. If you're going to use a motorcycle for household chores and shopping, or pickup and deliveries for your business, a scooter will provide you with ample storage. Or if you get a motorbike, go with something you can easily mount saddlebags and tail boxes to. If you'll be carrying around a pillion a lot, then you'll definitely want to look for comfortable rear seats. Longer and wider seats will provide more comfortable seating for a pillion. Maybe a softer suspension setup to soak up impacts from the bumps and potholes in our roads. The rear mudguards should be good enough for rainy days to keep your wheels from splattering all the mud to the pillion. and you might want the throttle response to be more linear. It won't matter much when riding solo, but when you ride with a pillion, you'll notice a lot of jerking in slow moving traffic. So a linear throttle input and a good amount of low end torque will provide a more comfortable ride for both the rider and pillion in heavy traffic. And if you will be going on long trips a lot, then maybe an adventure tourer might be more suited for you. Adventure touring bikes usually have a higher and wider handlebars and a more upright stance for comfortable riding. Also, they have a lot of options for mounting your saddlebags, tank bags and tail bags. Some adventure tours also have storage for extra fuel container for those long tours in remote destinations. They usually have adequate torque and power for cruising comfortably in triple-digit speeds and can be equipped with tall windshields for good wind protection. While some of you might feel you want the best looking motorcycle and do not give a damn about anything else, in my list of priorities, aesthetics is one of the last things I look for when choosing a motorcycle. Surely the looks matter as well, but the performance, handling and comfort matters a lot more to me. Most of the good performing machines nowadays are usually quite a looker, so I would not worry much about that. The sleek aerodynamic styling of some sport bike is most likely to turn a lot of heads. The sleek aerodynamic styling of sport bikes is most likely to turn a lot of heads when riding in traffic or at parking lots. Some larger capacity naked bikes also give off that awe-inspiring vibe with their bulky and muscular design. A lot of dirt bikes nowadays have a loud exhaust, which definitely gets you some attention in public. So with that, let me tell you one more thing that you might want to look out for. The exhaust note might not seem that important when you're going through the spec sheet, but believe me, it can make all the difference in your riding experience. Most big bikes have a loud and pleasant exhaust note, and most of you will always want a loud exhaust. Loud exhausts do feel better to hear, but it's not always the case. Too loud and it could be troubling your ears during long rides, and not all loud exhausts are pleasant sounding. Some motorbikes have the exhaust note so beautiful that it sounds more pleasing to the ears than your favorite musician. A pleasant exhaust note can keep you smiling throughout your journey, and it makes the ride so much fun, while a bad sounding exhaust may totally ruin your mood. एकचोटि मलाई बुटोलको एजिया विङको सोरुमबाट बेन्डा BD 250GS भन्ने बाइक टेस्ट राइड गरेको थिएँ, जसलाई चाहिँ नेपालमा CF 250 ट्विन नाम दिएर ल्याएको थियो, and its exhaust note was one of the worst I've ever heard. It was very loud but had a constant sound throughout the rev range. So idleमा पनि धेरै loud थियो, but full throttle दिँदा पनि sound चाहिँ constant थियो. So you would expect from a motorbike to scream harder when you crank up the throttle. जति throttle दिँदा पनि एउटै sound, अनि एक्सलरेट वा डिसलरेट हुँदा पनि constant sound, and त्यसले गर्दा यति इरिटेटिङ लाग्यो त्यसको exhaust note चाहिँ. पावर राम्रो थियो बाइकको, but चलाउँदाखेरि केही फिल नै भएन त्यो exhaust noteले गर्दा. It sounded so constant, and that was my worst experience of test riding a motorcycle. So definitely hear out for the exhaust note before you buy a motorcycle. And that bike looked like a replica of the Triumph Street Triple. So talking about replica, another thing just struck my mind that you should probably consider when buying your motorcycle, and that is talking about brands. There was another bike from a company named Hunter, and it looked exactly like the Kawasaki Ninja 300, and it was almost 3 to 4 lakhs cheaper than the Ninja, and the build quality was total shit. It was not what you'd expect from a bike that cost you 6 lakhs. So do not get fooled by the looks. The thought of getting in the looks of a Ninja at almost half the price might seem intimidating at first, but believe me, it's not worth your money. So do not buy some random no-name brands you've never heard of. Go for a reputed brand of motorcycle which you can trust. Do not rush to buy a newly launched brand which has not established itself in our local market. You can take the example of Hyosung motorcycles in Nepal. The motorcycles were not bad and came at a good price point as well, but it did not do well in the Nepalese market and shut down eventually. Although the motorbikes were good, people who bought Hyosung had a hard time for finding parts. And the resale market is not good either due to the brand being discontinued in Nepal. So look out for these things when buying your first motorcycle. You might probably have done a lot of research already and might have already known about some of these things. So if you think I missed something, do mention in the comments below. And I hope this video has been helpful to you. And I hope you choose wisely for the right motorcycle. So keep watching. If you like my videos, do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon if you want to keep seeing videos like this in the future. So until next time, stay home, stay safe, keep washing your hands, and thanks for watching.